Hello, I am Brad Strong from Elsevier. I am the manager of content and strategy for specialty products. So Elsevier, I'm sure someone must be familiar with it. We're huge. I'm part of a very small group within Elsevier, and unlike I think everyone else on this panel, I don't directly work with publishing journals. I actually came in to work with Elsevier in 2011, late 2011 as a consultant, on a legacy product called Oncology Stat. And Oncology Stat is actually, it was a product which provided context and curation for journal content. So we were a product for oncologists. We engaged with very well-known oncologists within the field who would make recommendations on a weekly basis to say, out of all the things that are being published, this is what you should pay attention to, and essentially offer the Cliff Notes version of the abstract or the full article. So at that time, we had about 80,000 users, so we had a huge saturation within US oncologists, so we had limited growth opportunities. We knew that we wanted to engage our users more frequently, and we knew that we were getting hit by mobile devices, but at that time, it was actually being redirected to an error, so you could not access the site through a mobile device at all. The technology that it was built on, our content management system, was incredibly dated, and we had no control over it. It was actually managed and kept by an external vendor, so anytime we wanted to add new features, new content types, there was just a months-long process that had to be gone through. So because of that, I came in, and actually, as you can see, we had, on the old site, we had over 40 navigational items when you came in. It was incredibly overly complicated for no reason. And we were debating how we were going to take this single product, which was specifically for oncology, that we wanted to grow to more than 20 specialties that already have this incredibly complex architecture that was slow to adapt. How are we going to take this and turn this into something that now had mobile and desktop and over 20 specialty areas? So we were looking at various CMSs. We were looking at Drupal. Should we build native apps? And completely lost my train of thought. What we knew was what we didn't know. The strength of Oncology Stat was that it was steered by an editorial team, which was an expert in the content, but they were not internal to our group. So we wanted to build this off of technology decisions that would allow us to adapt and grow in the future. So what we ended up doing was going with responsive design. Internally, we had expertise in terms of development. I have years of front-end development. So I have actually been the one that has coded the front end. We built a new CMS entirely from scratch. We currently are running with 6 channels, which would be 6 specialties. And we offer personalized content, regular personalized newsletters. And we've done all this by simplifying the interface and offering just a single point of content for all of our users. We built the entire product within 2 months. We launched as a beta product in December. We had a soft launch with our current users in January, and we've only begun actually doing user acquisition in February. We're now over 20,000 users, so we've grown pretty quickly. The key takeaways, going with the brand new technology has made it very difficult for us to hand off development and begin to work with external vendors. I do not at all regret going HTML5 and going responsive, but it's an incredibly new technology for a lot of people within the industry. So as we've tried to bring in resources, be they individual or companies, there's just a lot of onboarding that's required. Technology moves incredibly slowly in highly regulated fields. Since our users are physicians, a lot of them are using devices that are issued by universities and hospitals, and they are accessing our product with IE7 and IE8, and we get people that don't understand why things may look funky in AOL. So the way that we've been handling that is actually just encouraging those users to access our content through mobile. We're at the point where we have, last I checked, it was about a 25% mobile usage, but from all the numbers that we've seen, the people that are accessing our site through mobile are actually much more highly engaged. So whether it be our emails, the rates at which they're opening, the amount of time that they're spending in the emails, which actually, just side note, we've also made our emails responsive, which we've seen a huge uptick in engagement there, which is really fantastic. But even though our users still predominantly accessing us from desktop, the people that are accessing from mobile, I think, are getting more out of the site, and they're more the type of users and the type of usage that we would like to encourage. So we are all in with HTML5. We're all in with mobile. Yes, I want to get back to my takeaways. So supporting legacy browsers, far more complicated than supporting multiple devices. Protect your current success. One thing that I skimmed over a bit is that we actually built not only the front end, but the authoring environment as well. Because we are not working with journal content and data that already exists in a system, it's not already in XML, we're not purely just reformatting and displaying content that exists. We're actually publishing and authoring content on a weekly basis. There were a lot of decisions to be made, and the one thing that we decided not to touch was our editorial process. As opposed to finding an off-the-shelf product and then shoehorning our editors into using that, we actually rebuild everything from the ground up to support that. So we were able to maintain a legacy product, keep that going, and then just slowly transition our editors into using a new product without any hiccups. There was not a single week where we missed a publication. So I think that understanding what your strengths are and understanding what it's most important for you to support is probably the biggest step to take at any point. We made the decision that when we went mobile, that we were not going to limit the experience. We would not put anything on desktop that could not also go on mobile. So rethinking things like our preferences screen and our user registration process. When you're faced with signing up for 6 different specialties and each one of those has over 20 subspecialties that you could possibly opt in or out of, figuring out how to design for that and make that work on a 4-inch screen was very difficult. Content analysis and strategy cannot be shortcut. I don't think that we will ever be able to say that that phase of the work is complete. We're constantly realizing how wrong we were with certain things and updating and improving that. So taxonomy, structuring your data, it's incredibly important if you want to have any sort of flexibility to really understand what you have and be able to have logic wrapped around how you're going to display that. And as an ad-funded site, advertisers and partners are still struggling to deliver responsive assets. So while there are ad specs for HTML5 delivery for responsive ads, a lot of our sponsors are pharma, so they have an incredibly long regulatory period for approval, for legal, for what they can say. So by the time an ad is actually on our site, it was probably produced a year ago. So that lag in terms of adopting the new technologies and new standards has been unexpectedly slow. So right now that is, again, it's another area where we're suddenly in the position of being educators for our partners. What's next? We would love to create a more consistent user experience for the Elsevier users, so people that have access to online textbook content, journal content. Right now we don't offer single sign-on. So if you're on our site, we cover content that is both Elsevier but also from all other major publishers. So right now the only sort of enhanced experience that you have if you're going to an Elsevier website from ours is that you can access an abstract or something else without having to sign in. But if you actually want to access your content that you do pay for as a subscriber, you have to go back into the login screen and everything else. We would like to shortcut that. Improve content discovery and recommendations, being able to tap into the wealth of information of all the content that Elsevier has and say, you're reading about content that has to do with this topic, and there are all these other resources for you within our network in these other products. We would love to be able to do that. Expand our user base, obviously. We would love to have more users and get more content and have more ads being viewed. We're currently US focused. We're going global this year. We currently have a global audience. There are early adopters sort of scattered throughout the globe, but right now we don't have translated or localized content, and we're looking to begin to do that this year. We also plan to expand from 6 to 20 plus channels, which again brings us right back full circle into content analysis and figuring out how can we encourage the editors in each of these new specialties to inform just the content in that area on top of our product. And richer interaction. We currently don't have much in the way of social features. You can share things to Twitter, to Facebook, things like that, forward emails, but our only foray really into social has been a forum which is devoted to U.S. breast cancer. So for oncologists that are devoted to women's health and breast cancer, there's a desktop-only forum. And what we would really love to do is be able to take that over, bring that to the mobile device. Right now, that's the only remaining piece from our legacy product, and it's still maintained by a vendor. So we're actually sort of rebuilding that within our own platform in order to offer that on the go. And we'd love to be able to bring that to other specialty areas. So I think that's it. Thank you.